Welcome to Elliott's PT podcast. I'm here to help you find your balance and live your best life guilt-free. I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all approach for health and fitness. We're all different and we need to find out what works for us. I'm passionate about helping people make realistic, long-term lifestyle changes that they will stick to and they will take with them forever. I don't believe in crazy diets or short-term fixes. We all need to live and find a perfect balance in diet and exercise that suits our individual needs. I want to help you find your exercise mojo, feel great and achieve wonderful things. Here is Elliott's PT podcast by Renae Elliott. Hello, and welcome back to Elliott's PT podcast. So today's podcast, I get to chat to Elliott's PT member, Cass, who she joined our classes about a year ago, and she's also taken part in the Little Black Dress project. When she first set out to join the classes, she was quite hesitant to start, and it took her a little bit of time to, I think, get the courage to start. But once she did, she has now, it's really changed her ways of how she thought about exercise. And I remember this one day that she came up to me and she says, I've just got to keep doing more. I've got the bug. And I love that. I love that it's been able to change how she feels about fitness, and she can see how fitness can do so much more than, it can help you in so many other aspects of your life. So a big part of what I do at Elliott's PT, what we do is do it as being part of the Little Black Dress project, is finding something that works for you and making it fit within your lifestyle so it's realistic. I think some people struggle with feeling like the only way to get a result is by really, really flogging themselves when they're exercising, so if you don't do a workout where you hurt yourself, or I remember one mum telling me one day her son, she left to come to training and her son was like, go out and get, vomit, mum, that it's not a good workout unless you vomit. And all of that stuff is actually totally against what I'm about. It's working out within your means. You want to challenge yourself, but you don't want to get to that point. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think that's what exercise is about. And I really want people to find exercise and see how they can live with it. So people come to me and they'll say, I meet people in the shopping centre, in the Woolworths or the supermarket, and they'll be like, don't look at my trolley, don't see what I'm eating. And it's all about balance, I don't mean. Or I'm bumping into somebody in a restaurant or something and they're like, oh, don't look, I've got chips. Who cares? Because it's all about balance. And that is what we are about. And it's all about finding that balance and making it work for you. It's so lovely to see how people have found the classes really enjoyable, how they have found doing things such as the Little Black Dress project, and how it has made changes in their life that they can still stick to. So, nearly a year or so later, Cass still has things that she has taken from the first cycle that she did of the Little Black Dress project, and she's been able to still keep them in place. And that is exactly why I developed the project, because it's something that lasts forever. It's not just a challenge that you stop and you do the things while you're in that 8 weeks and then it stops and then you don't do it anymore. Okay, so I'm really excited for you to hear this podcast. So I'm going to pass you straight over to Cass. Okay, so we are talking to Cassie today, who is a member of Elliott's PT, and she's been coming for, I think has it been a year now?
It would be a year, or maybe just over, yeah.
Yeah, maybe just over a year. So I wanted to come on and talk about how you have found how your life has changed since you've been at Elliott's PT. How have you found training with us? And it was interesting, actually, when I was thinking about you before, I was remembering, we'll probably go into it after, but I was remembering like how you then started and you started doing you started I think at 2 sessions, and then you were like, oh, I'm going to start doing 3, and then you're like, I've got the bug.
It's addictive.
Yeah. So what was your relationship like with exercise before you came to Elliott's PT?
So I've always been an active person, but I was sort of, it was always sport for me. And then when sport stopped, I thought I better join a gym because I thought that was my only option. So my relationship with exercise was probably it was more like a chore and something that I had to do. I didn't really enjoy it. It was just kind of ticking boxes for moving because of that uni, and I was eating wrong and I was drinking wrong. And so, yeah, it was more a chore than anything.
Yeah. What would you say is your, because I think when I first met you, you like had a membership, but you weren't going or anything, were you?
No, yeah, I was a member of a few gyms.
Yeah. I think you were like, yeah, you weren't attending.
Yeah.
So what would you say your relationship is like now with exercise?
Oh, it's totally changed. I think even the whole concept of exercise has changed. So from becoming a chore, it's now like I crave it and I need it, and not just because I want to move, but because I feel like it helps my mental health. I think originally I wanted to do it for weight loss, but now it's like it just gives me clarity and so much more than what it used to.
Yeah.
I've been training with you guys. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's exactly what it's about. What have you had any struggles?
When you say struggles, you mean getting out of bed at 4:55 a.m. or
well,
what do you mean?
I know sometimes, and like you said, because obviously it's winter here now, and so how have you found that type of stuff? And you've been early.
Yeah, I do fall off the bandwagon a little bit, but I always get back on it. Yeah. Because of the feeling of like I start to crave it again. Like it's early mornings, it's dark at the moment. I don't have that motivation, but then I start to feel sluggish, and it affects my work and how I mum. And so, yeah, I have struggles, but I realized that the only way to make myself feel better is to come back and get myself back into that routine of coming each morning. So,
and do you think the older, I guess, you felt that way and then you maybe just gave up and didn't bother?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think you've done really well in that. Like, or, like the other week you started going, okay, it's dark. I'm not coming at 5, but I'm going to come at 9 and I'm going to try to change. You luckily have flexibility that you can do that, but you have made it work in that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are so many options that's the great thing about that, is that I can not come to the early morning class because there is a 9 o'clock class, or there is an afternoon class. So yeah, I make it work.
Yeah, but you've still made it work with how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And how have you found to make, I guess that's kind of what we're saying, how have you made exercise work around? I think you've even you even asked for some videos sometimes, didn't you?
I know. That's
which, like, I know for you is such a big deal because you never would have done that.
No, I know. I never thought I'd be one to work out at home, but once you get the bug, it gets you.
Do you remember when you first felt like you got the bug? Do you remember that? I
do, and it was like so consuming for me, and I've never been like that with sport. I always have, but I think also because for some reason there's something about your gym that does feel like a team, or you're with people. So that was also something that I craved, to be around people and training with the same sort of people. So I feel like I just wanted to keep going back there and go to class because I felt good there and it made me feel good after. So yeah, it was a good feeling. Not for my body.
I just remember you saying, I think you must have been sick or something. I don't know. I just remember you saying one day, you're like, I've got the bug. And I was like, that's good. That's cool. Have you found it different with your kids? Like, have you found that it helps you with your kids? Are you different with them?
I think it sometimes helps me with patience with them.
Yeah.
No, it does help. I definitely need to be active to stay calm. So
it helps me.
Yeah, it does in that sense. Yeah, definitely.
So you are someone who suffers from anxiety, and like many people do. So how have you found that exercise has helped you with that?
Oh, it's kind of made me realize how important exercise was for anxiety. You know, the first thing I went to is medicating myself, but realistically, a lot of it is just moving and using all those muscles and all that energy and craziness in my head and getting it out. So yeah, I think it's helped me so much. And when I do stop is when I find that I become really foggy and yeah. So it's been amazing, and it's only now that I'm just starting to realize that. So I don't know what it is that's different about what I've been doing in the past, but it's really.
I think it's you're consistent. You said it's been over a year or so, and you haven't really missed. I don't really think you've missed. You haven't had weeks that you've missed.
No. So maybe
you might have had, like, obviously there's times people get sick or, but you haven't, or go away, but you haven't really missed. Haven't really missed much.
No, and maybe that is it. And I feel, just makes me feel good. It's really, really helped me.
Yeah, that's so good. So obviously there are lots of people that struggle with anxiety, and so then the fear of joining a group because they're anxious of people might look at them, they might feel like they're not fit enough. Or did you feel that way when you first started? How did you come over that to actually start?
Yes. I feel like I don't know whether anyone would walk into a new environment and not feel a little bit nervous. But
no,
yeah,
I would. Like, I totally, yeah,
totally.
Even though I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it is daunting. But the moment you step in there and every single person in that room said hello to me. They're also welcoming. I don't even think anyone watched me work out.
No, nobody.
No one's judgy. It is like they're on your team. I feel like that's what I really liked and I love about that place.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel as scary.
Yeah, I think the thing I try to remind people is that everybody's been in that same boat.
Yeah.
Everybody's been at that same boat and not felt, felt that way. So they all know how you feel, or feeling. I think another big thing is people feeling unfit. So they feel worried that but again, everybody's been that way, but nobody's judgy either.
No. And that's a definite difference I feel like in a gym, you do feel like people are watching you, because they can be quite intimidating. But in this circumstance, I didn't feel that way at all. I felt nervous to walk in, and then as soon as the class started, it was like no one had their eyes on me. We were all in the boat. So, yeah, nervous but good.
Yeah, that's good. Do you know what made me chuckle? I just thought of that time with the Tabata music, and you thought that there was somebody shouting, "Come on," and it was
come on! Yeah,
it just made me chuckle. I just remembered for however long you thought that there was somebody in the room cheering. And
I know, and
track.
I often told people, there's like this really keen lady in the class that yells and
it turns out it was the track. And it was actually the track. So you actually took part of the first round of the Little Black Dress project. So what made you actually join that?
You?
Me?
No, look, I have done so many challenges before, and I didn't have a lot of confidence in challenges anymore because I hadn't seen any results.
Yeah.
I'd sort of always fallen off halfway through or got to the end and was like, I didn't put the whole effort in, so I didn't get any results. But I thought everyone else was doing it, so I jumped on board. And I think because, again, it was like you were with your teammates and we were all in it together, I actually stuck to, I would say, 80% of it.
Yeah, I think you had your mum and that you had visitors over it.
I did.
During a period of it, yeah.
So there were things that I could have sharpened up on.
But you know, the thing is, though, I think the best learning lesson is when you learn to do this stuff around when you're busy or you've got visitors or those things, because that's life.
It is. And I think my excuses were, I didn't do this because I had to go out for dinner and I flew out and had wine. And whereas I could have still stuck to,
Yeah.
my macros and all that jazz. But even so at the end of it, I was so surprised, because even though I only put
got really
80%
great results.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that was the first time that I'd ever seen, I think, even because I had the before and after pictures, even if it wasn't on the scales, I could see a difference.
Yeah, there was a difference. Yeah. And so what was your biggest takeaway that you got from doing the Little Black Dress project?
Oh, so much. I learned that the whole macro thing just blew my mind, and I didn't realize that. I didn't realize I could eat as much as you were telling me I could eat, and I thought you had to starve yourself, and that's not the case. I was eating more than I had been eating before.
Yeah. That's
but the one thing that also just like blew my mind was that I am not, my steps, like, you're meant to get your 12,000 steps.
Oh, your daily movement.
I thought I was so active, and I thought I was so, on the go, a busy mum, and I was getting like half the steps. So that was another thing that I've taken away with me, and I try to get as close to that as possible, because I don't move enough.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. What's the things that stuck with you? But that's probably one of them.
Yeah, definitely. That, and just a knowledge of food, and they're the two main things. I think the exercise thing has always been part of my life, but it was not until I added those two things to it that I actually saw any change.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that you can't just flog yourself. It was so much more.
Yeah, it needs to be more than one thing. I think you've been, like, since then as well, I think your consistency with your exercise has been, like, I think you really upped your sessions then, and now you kind of don't miss, you come at least 3 times a week.
Yeah, I could see that it was important, and that I don't want to go back to where I was. So I feel like I've been able to maintain a good way, but I do need to hop on that Little Black Dress project again, because I need a little kick up the butt.
But that's what that's why, that's what it's there for, to still keep giving people their kicks up the butts. But I think if you look at I think you've, like, I was thinking about you before, and I was thinking, I remember where you were like just doing a few sessions, but now you really won't miss 3.
No, it's, like I said, it's addictive, and it's a lifestyle thing, and I've finally figured it out. And if this is what it takes, then that's a pretty good way to keep your weight off.
Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so the other thing that I thought would be good is, so when you first started coming here, you mentioned that you had, I think you just kind of mentioned it in passing, like it was no big deal about your pelvic floor.
Correct.
And I was kind of shocked when you had told me what you'd been lifting heavy weights, and you'd been doing these
jumping.
You'd been doing all of the things that kind of put it under more pressure. So what, I guess give the listeners, I guess, a bit of, so when did you realize that you had pelvic floor problems?
Straight after I had my first child. So let's say 7.5 years ago, I knew there was an issue, but I refused to do anything about it. And then I had my second child, and that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm still battling with it because I refused to do anything about it.
Yeah.
I did see
why do you think you refused?
I think it's very intrusive, and it feels invasive after you've had a kid. To have a physio doing all sorts of jazz to your pelvic floor. I didn't realize things were internal, and it is
the last thing you want to be looked at after you've given birth. But
but now I wish I did.
Yeah, it's important, and it's just get it over with. Like, I guess I had pelvic floor issues, but they, Charlie's 4, they were sorted out straight away. It took me like 9 months or so, but I don't, like, she's 4 and I don't have any issues, where I guess you're still battling a little bit with yours.
Yeah, very much so. And Yeah. Sorry,
what did you do? So what were you doing? So before, like when I first met you, what were you doing exercise wise with your pelvic floor? And I guess you did have pain, and what things were you doing?
Well, obviously I was at many gyms, and I was doing my own sort of circuits and things. So I had no idea what I could and couldn't be doing. I was lifting heavy weights. I was going to classes that was like step up jumping sort of classes, and there was no way knowing at the start of the class when they said, does anyone have any injuries, was I going to put my hand up and say in front of 50
Everyone.
people, yeah, oh, my vagina's broken. But so I continued to jump and do all that jazz, and then I would get home and be in so much pain, but just kept doing it.
Yeah.
I just thought that was normal, and then that was my own fault that I didn't fix it. So the only way was to just push through.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Yeah. No, apparently not.
No. And how do you find, I remember you saying to me one day, do you not have pain in your hips when you walk? And I was like, no, that's not normal.
No.
How
all these things.
How has it changed for you now?
Well, I've learned how important your pelvic floor is, and how important your core is as well, but also that you don't need to do those jumping things, and I don't need to be lifting heavy weights to get the same results.
Yeah.
That I don't need to be in pain every time I work out. It completely changed. It means that I'm working out and going home with just, the slight sore muscles, not the
soreness from your workout, not from.
Yeah. So it's completely changed. I can play netball. I would have laughed if someone said you should play netball. And that's not even doing pelvic floor work. That's just strengthening through exercise, not.
But you've
doing,
done.
If I do my proper.
Yeah. But you also, like you have made it, you're aware of it. So you're making a point of, before you do movement, switching it on while you're playing, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. And that's, something that I wouldn't have even known to have done.
Yeah.
So,
that's so good. So what would you recommend for any women who have, I guess, pelvic floor discomfort or any issues? They might not even be aware they have issues. What would you recommend to them to do?
Go to see a physio from the very start, very get-go. Sort it then, not 7 years later. Tell your trainer, don't train the way that everyone else is, because in essence you have an injury, and I was just making my injury worse and worse every time.
Yeah.
I feel like throughout that whole Little Black Dress project is when I was training my hardest, and I had no pain. Just get on top of it, because it is so important. You don't need to feel like that. Yeah.
And I guess like in the classes, so there are still some things that, well, you know mostly now yourself, but there are things that we have to adapt for your pelvic floor. So how does that make you feel in a class environment? Because I guess that's what you were scared of to say.
To start with, yes. When I didn't know people, obviously now I'm very open about it. But to start with, I don't feel like you're ever singled out, though, because
no, I didn't.
Every single person in that class has got some sort of adapted exercise because of something. So I never felt, you never said your pelvic floor is shot, so you'll need to do this. It was just like, you should do this.
No.
So I never felt uncomfortable at all, because I could see other ladies were also in the same position as me.
Yeah.
So I never questioned what was wrong with them. So I guess hopefully.
Nobody even, but I guess it doesn't make you like, you don't feel like you're singled out. Obviously you don't feel like you're left out, or that you're not working as hard because you can't do that jumping exercise or.
Yeah, no, originally I did, but I think you've sort of taught me that there's a whole other aspect of strength in that. So yeah. No, good. It's been perfect. I'm so grateful.
Yes, I'm so glad. Well, I know we are flying on this one because I know you're about to go for the school run. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to me and to say, because hopefully I know that other people will hear this and they might actually go and think about their pelvic floor. So I'm going to let you fly.
Thanks, love.
All right. Now, if you would like to be part of the Little Black Dress Project, all you need to do is make sure that you go to our website and follow the prompts and join the waiting list so you can be the first to know when the next cycle of the Little Black Dress Project opens. The Little Black Dress Project is starting on the 18th of June 2022. So if you are listening to this before that day, make sure that you jump straight on to the website and put your name on the waiting list so you will be the first to know when the Little Black Dress Project opens. There is only 15 spaces for this round, so make sure you jump on there quick.